Continuing on, part 2. With regard to Betelgeuse going supernova, potentially within the next 30 days, but Daniel posited the possibility of it going nova in the summertime, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. It would seem more likely that it would go nova in the winter than in the summer, the spring, or the fall. But whenever it goes nova, it'll go nova. I checked in on the Betelgeuse Wikipedia webpage. It is huge. So for those of you that like to read, and of course over the years, Betelgeuse and even Orion. Betelgeuse is part of the constellation Orion, the upper left star. There's a scripture that talks about Orion. It says, "Seek him, the maker of the bear, the star, and Orion." Something like that. So with regard to Betelgeuse going nova, the statement on the Wikipedia webpage is that it will not harm the Earth. I don't necessarily agree with that. And Betelgeuse is a little closer than I had thought. Thought it was about 700 light years away. No, Betelgeuse is apparently 400 to 600 light years away. What will potentially harm the Earth is when Betelgeuse flips on its axis. It will swing a pole, one of the star's poles, north and south pole, whatever, by. And also the cursory inspection of the Wikipedia webpage shows that Betelgeuse is fairly aligned with the ecliptic plane. So it will provide a good broadside of destruction to the Earth, or it's oriented in such a way to strike the Earth a broadside blow. Now, what the nature of that destruction and damage is, I don't know. If the elves have, the spirit world, the dimensions, have revealed this to me, I either did not discern it, or they haven't revealed it to us yet. Maybe they will come and say something to me, more supplemental information. But with the knowledge of this being told to me fairly recently, I think I didn't write it down, about 2 weeks ago. And then when I told Daniel was like, "Wow, Betelgeuse is going to blow up." He was very surprised because, as I confirmed on the Wikipedia webpage, Betelgeuse isn't supposed to blow up, or supposed to blow up sometime, they figure, 100,000 years. Well, to have Betelgeuse blow up maybe within the next 30 days, yeah, that would be a little sooner. Anyway, so with regard to, for those that would prepare against such an event, because the possibility of the pole swinging by, one of the star's poles swinging by, pointing at the Earth as it explodes, this could bring some damage and destruction to the Earth. So it's the same general protection as for Delta Capricorni. You've got to be underground somewhere, or in a structure with a substantial amount of concrete and steel between you and the ecliptic plane. So I've pondered how to prepare. I suppose with the ready availableness of the available mobile devices, to download one of the stargazing apps, 2 of which I've mentioned previously, and I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. But choose Betelgeuse and put the app into real-time mode and keep it running in your mobile device, a phone that you carry with you, your phone, maybe a second phone. And if we receive some type of notice that we would receive, I guess, the neutrinos. You're going to hear things. It's going to be stuff. Something's going to happen. Everyone will know this is happening. It'll be confusing to the masses. They're going to hear sounds, voices, electron avalanches. I don't know to what extent, but there's going to be some sort of phenomena that the masses will have never heard or seen or felt before, and they will be very confused. And if there is an earthquake, then the masses will be going outside to leave buildings. In case, they're going to be fearful in case the buildings fall on them. Well, ironically enough, that's when you're supposed to be going inside a building. You're going to seek deep shelter. So Betelgeuse approximately being on the ecliptic, actually slightly north of the ecliptic, you're going to want to, and that's, of course, you have to know, that's why you have to have the app, because it depends on what time of year it goes nova. I'm assuming it's going nova in the wintertime. It may not. But anyway, so have the app of your choice. Stellarium, going in your phone, your mobile device, your computer, whatever. But something that, because you're, as you travel throughout your daily activities, you're probably going to want to have a mobile device with you in real-time mode centered on Betelgeuse. Now, half of the population generally won't have to worry. When Betelgeuse goes nova, it'll be on the other side of the earth and they'll be protected. So it won't be a situation for them. But for the half, maybe slightly more than half of individuals, 14 time zones, that will be affected. So when and if, because this is a lot of ifs in this, very speculative on my part. I don't know. Well, in a way, I do know, but there are things I don't know. It's just a general warning. So, study Betelgeuse through your app. See where it lines up. Is it longitude, latitude? I should know. But the angle at now, and keep this mentally. You have to be situationally aware of the angle of Betelgeuse, so that you'll know, because there could be times it will be directly overhead. If it happens to go off during the summertime, spring, fall, I'm trying to think, because it's north of the ecliptic. So if it there will be times when it's for some individuals it's directly overhead. So the nature of the cover that you will have to seek will be something that will shield you directly overhead. However, if it's on an angle, somewhat of an angle, then the cover, the far more different types of cover will be available, because a deep cellar wall will provide sufficient protection. You don't have to have protection overhead because of the angular nature, the angle coming down. You'll want to get up against the south facing wall. And again, being situationally aware, knowing where Betelgeuse is when it's going to blow up. You're going to potentially, this is all hypothetical on my part, but you'll receive warning. The sounds in the ears, phenomenon, gravity waves, earthquake, electron avalanches, something's going to happen. The masses aren't going to know. You're going to pull out your app. You're going to look, and also you're going to be situationally aware and prepare yourself. Where can I get to deep shelter within 5 to 20 minutes? That you're always going to be mentally aware of wherever you go. Where can I reach deep shielded earth, stone, concrete, steel structure, as many feet as possible between you and the nova? So even poor people can do this. You'll just, when you're around public buildings, or even what time of day, what have you, but just keep them in mind, or any house or a friend or whatever. But you're going to pick out places, depending on time of day and where you are, you're going to be situationally aware. Wherever you are, you have to be able to reach a place of safety, probably within 20 to 30 minutes. I certainly wouldn't push it beyond 30 minutes, but you're going to want to be able to reach your place of deep shelter and safety within 30 minutes. And you're going to want to place, however you do this, as much earth, steel, concrete shelter. It's the same basic rules as a fallout shelter in a nuclear event, except that it's going to be very, very short. It's only going to last seconds. So it's not like you're going to have to prepare to have resources there. Well, you might. But just the basic doctrine here, the basic preparation is that you don't want to be caught out in the open by this, that you want to be in some sort of deep shelter. And the time will be very short. It'll be seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes at most. You won't have to stay there long because the event will take place, I would think, within an hour, but probably 30 minutes, whatever. And there are individuals that, with more physics than I, and maybe I can ask Daniel to do this, but those of you that know the speed, we know that for more distant, it was SN 1987A, it was 3 hours. The distance, the time between the neutrinos arriving and the gamma ray burst was about 3 hours, but that was more than 100,000 light years away. What we have from the scriptures, at least regarding Delta Capricorni, is 30 minutes between the neutrinos and the gamma ray burst. And Delta Capricorni is 38.6 light years away, less than 40. Betelgeuse is more than 10 times the distance away, but still incredibly close, still very, very, very close. So the same general timing rules will apply. But those of you that know advanced mathematics and physics, you should be able to kind of calculate the time between the neutrinos and the gamma ray burst. Now, the question is, what type of destruction, what type of damage, what will happen? There could be some type of an EMP. There could be gamma radiation, muons, what have you. I don't know. The elves have not told me. They haven't revealed that to me, or if they have, I was dumb, or I didn't pay attention, or I didn't listen, or because of my great separation from knowing, because I only have half, the knower has the other half. Further information is not revealed to me at this time. Perhaps, and I will ask if they're able to tell me any more details or any other information. I do remember a dream. It was related, I think, though, to Delta Capricorni, the moon occulting the Earth, and thought that was March 1st. It would be really interesting if Betelgeuse blows up on March 1st. I think it was March 1st. Or was it January 29th? It's all in my dream log. But it's kind of irrelevant in a way, unless the elves, the Eternals, whomever it is that is sent, whoever of the gods, the 15 gods or more, come to tell me any more specific information. Then all we know at this time is, well, sometime in the near future, I hate to say it that way, but sometime in the near future, Betelgeuse, the star in the Winter Hexagon Stars, the upper left, looking, I guess, in the northern hemisphere, the upper left star of Orion. I've always been, I remember looking at Orion being young. I was, 6, 7, 8 years old, and it was a warm summer night, clear skies, and I was out walking in the yard and looked up at the sky, and I think I saw Orion. Maybe it was early in the spring because the Winter Hexagon Stars are called the winter. Anyway, see Orion. And Betelgeuse is one of the stars of Orion. Anyway, so that's the basic preparation, is to seek deep shelter, to be situationally aware of where you are, that if we, and of course it could be just as Wikipedia says, we may not receive any advance notice. We as every a day average. Well, I've received advance notice, obviously, but the physical phenomena, the non-spiritual phenomena, I've received the notice of the spiritual phenomena. The rest of the earth receives energy phenomena of this dimension in reality. The information I receive is not a part of this dimension in reality. It comes from eternity, from the arc of reality. So there will be approximately a 30-minute notice. The scientific community with the neutrino detectors, they will receive notice. And of course, with it being really close, there will be lots and lots of, it'll overload the neutrino detectors. They're going to freak. They're going to be like, this is the big one. And so to what degree they may notify the public, or the secret will leak out. Somebody's going to make a phone call. Somebody's going to, some insider inside the scientific community with access, that it's going to get known quick. And so probably one way or another, we can pray for that. We can pray that even though they want to try to keep it a secret, that it will leak out to the public, that, sheet going down. Something's going to happen soon. And a whole lot of something. And so, chickens running around. They ain't going to know what to do. They just know something bad's going to happen. My name's Chicken Little, and hi. This is the Chicken Little Report, and I'm here to tell you something bad's going to happen. That Don Headley song, Dirty Laundry, tell you with a gleam in their eye. She can tell you. The goddesses have told me. Anyway. So, it could be that there will be no damage to the Earth at all. And this will just be a visible phenomena. The Wikipedia page said that the supernova will be half the brightness of the moon, visible in the daytime sky for 3 months. That could be all that this is. It will happen. The scientific community will have received their advance notice approximately 30 minutes out. And then it'll happen. And bright, boom. The first close supernova. Well, the moment was, in recent modernity, the last one was what? The Crab Nebula? 1,900, what was it? 900, was it 1088? 80, was it? Whenever the star blew up that formed the Crab Nebula, because that was a visible nova in the sky. I think it was visible for a month. But anyway, that was a close nova as well. That was visible in the daytime sky. It happened approximately 1,000 years ago. And you can go look up the Crab Nebula, and that will take you, as part of the Crab Nebula, the information with the Crab Nebula will be the star that went nova in the year 1088, I think it was. But the thing is that helps us understand that Delta Capricorni is a hypernova, is that now the Crab Nebula, even 1,000 years later, almost 1,000 years later, is only 11 light years in diameter. So the speed of that nebula is only 5.5 light years, the speed of the expansion of that nebula. So we know that the explosion of Delta Capricorni is even more powerful to make its speed more accelerated, because the scriptures tell us 1,000 years from now, that's when the nebula arrives and just completely obliterates everything around here. So, and Delta Capricorni being 38.6 light years away, it's that speed is much faster than 6-8 times faster than the nova that produced the Crab Nebula. So that tells that the Crab Nebula was a supernova, but for the speed to be faster of the expanding nebula, then it has to be a hypernova, a kilonova. Anyway, but that's Delta Capricorni, which apparently is still about in the year 2039, maybe 2039, 2040, 2041, 42, somewhere in there. Still, 16, 18 years out yet for Delta Capricorni. But Betelgeuse, the elves have come to tell me. Somebody came to tell me because I didn't see anybody. Nobody said anything. It was just, hey, you see that? You see that? You see that? And I'll have to, if I get a chance, I will. Yeah, willing. I'll talk to Daniel about this again. Because we just don't ask the question. We don't talk about, well, who was it? Unless there were individuals who were visible there. Then it's, usually, well, who is it? But sometimes it's just information that's coming to us, and we don't know who the individual is. Again, 15, 16 different individuals, different possibilities of who it is that might be coming to communicate information. Is it angels? Is it one of the seraphs? Is it one of the archangels? Well, there's 9, 4 archangels and 4 seraphs. Is it one of the elves? There's 4. Is it one of the eternals? There's 3. So you got, at least I have about, 16 different possibilities of who it is that might be communicating to me. Oh, and don't forget the demons. I don't think they communicate to me very often. I think there's something, there's a wall, whatever. Demons, not a part of my reality, really. But the can of demons and other persons, oh man, there's all sorts of demons. There's demons and evil and unclean spirits and hateful birds. The daughter of Babylon, the United States, is a can of all that stuff. There's demons and evil and unclean spirits everywhere, and just more all the time. More and more and more and more. So they're here. So persons, the warm bodies. One of my sons told me there was a movie called, we were talking about demonic possession, persons being hosts for demons. And one of my sons, my youngest son, told me about the movie Warm Bodies. And Daniel and I have discussed this, that persons are hosts that Olam uses, and animals too, to keep spirits alive. They have to have a host to continue their organizational structure. And if they don't have an organizational structure, they dematerialize and they die. But these are the disembodied spirits. These are energy type spirits trapped here on this rock within the energy realm. I'm not talking about ethereal spirits. I'm talking about energy type spirits. Demons, unclean spirits, hateful birds, whatever the book of Revelation calls them. Angels are not the same. They're made of a different substance. Their substance is ethereal. They're in another dimension. But the demons and unclean spirits, blah, 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 hateful birds, what they're called, the different types of spirits, they're all trapped within the realm of energy here in this reality. Tons and tons, almost innumerable demons, legion, plenty of those. But I don't hear, well, I do, but through their hosts. Their hosts will contact me. And so, yeah, I might hear from a demon at least once a week. And I know it is. And they tell me, hi, it's so-and-so. And they're talking through their host. Because they can't hide themselves from me. I know who it is. Just from the way they talk, I know who it is. But that's neither here nor there. Really an unrelated topic altogether. So, but the majority of my reality, as far as the spiritual communication that I receive now and for the last 2 years and approximately 4 months, has been through the Arca reality. I receive my spiritual communication via Arca. And I'm going to throw this in too, rather than make a separate video. But I do want to continue on, make sure I make all my Betelgeuse points here. So there may be some damage, some deaths, EMP damage to electronics and semiconductors, power grids. I don't know to what extent there may be damage. I don't think it's going to be this global destruction. Could be. There could be a lot of, but it'll only be one side of the earth. And to what extent the damage will be, I don't know, can't say. But there are possibilities of damage. And so potentially, for those that would prepare, you're probably going to want, there is the possibility of EMP. So you're going to want a Faraday cage protection for some of your semiconductors. I mean, it's pretty simple. Steel trash can. I'm not saying that is the method, but, if you could afford the devices, you could afford to go purchase the steel trash can to stick them in. I'm not saying that is the remedy, but it is a remedy, potential remedy, not guaranteed, but anyway. Or filing cabinet. I've had the opportunity to get steel filing cabinet, either steel filing cabinets or steel, the big, huge, tall, 7-foot steel double door cabinets. Something that has a very the gloss, whatever. Anyway, that's not the purpose of my recording. Go look up Faraday cages and Faraday and EMP shielding. And there's plenty of prepper videos, plenty of information on the internet, YouTube, about how to shield your electronics against EMP. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. And then potential gamma rays, muons, what have you. But it'll be very, very short. So the time, again, you'll just have to seek deep underground cover for a short amount of time. But the possibility, though, of ionizing radiation, it'll be a gamma ray burst, but it'd be like a sweeping burst, I think, as the pole sweeps by. Because the pole, if we do get a gamma ray burst that comes out of the pole of the star, the pole will be sweeping by very rapidly. So it'll be well, I don't know. It's 600 miles away, so maybe it won't be so short because it has an angle. Even if it is a very narrow angle, it's still, by the time it gets here, it'll be fairly wide. Anyway, so those are thoughts and preparations for Betelgeuse. Is to be situationally aware, have an app, know some type of program. Know where Betelgeuse is and its incident angle with respect to you at your location, and be prepared to take deep shelter. So I'm pondering. I know of several places where I can take deep shelter. So and I've got sufficient mobile devices. I believe I will probably have one mobile device that will be or maybe I might put it on multiple mobile devices. I don't know, but I'll put Stellarium or whatever, Stellarium, is it Stellarium and Celestia? Whatever, there's dozens, but how many of them are apps that run on mobile devices? And then be situationally aware of knowing the incidence of angle and where Betelgeuse is. And so that's the general preparation. Now, moving on. Next topic. I was out. This dream started out. I was outside in a wintry, what looked to me like a wintry place. It was white. There were trees. I don't know, but I was on a creek. It was as if I was on a small creek, maybe a foot deep, 10 feet wide, 20 feet wide. I think what my mind plugged into this. Partially. There's a video I acquired off of GIF, the /GIF /4chan video board called GIF. It's this guy, or maybe I got it off of YouTube, I don't remember, but it's a guy, he's in a little gasoline, like 3, 5, whatever, 8 horsepower. He's a little tiny go-kart, but he's on a frozen creek. Well, he was on a river. It was big. And he's going like 30, 40, 50 miles an hour on the. He's really hauling. He's really moving. Really going fast on this frozen river in a go-kart on this perfectly flat ice. And he's really moving. And this video made it up. Somebody probably downloaded this video off of YouTube, took a chunk out of it, because GIF on 4chan has size 6 megabytes, as I remember correctly, and of course has to be encoded as WebM. Can't upload MP4s there. There's another couple sites I know of. Another Chan. Don't want to get embroiled with the controversy over that. It's bad enough of what is the way they say, what is this 4chan? There's another one even more controversial than 4chan, and I'm not even going to say what that one is. What is this? Videos of large quantities of possums eating little corn? What is this, Chan? Wait, there's another one? That was, and then, but wait, that was the predecessor, and now there's another one? And the individuals that don't like it still talk about it? What is it, Stockholm Syndrome? We hate this website, but we still go there. We hate this website. We hate the people that are there. We hate it. We hate it. Oh, but we go there. Anyway, what website is this? You're just going to have to ask around on 4chan. You know, the cliche, lurk more. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to get embroiled in all the controversy. It's bad enough I'm talking about it. Anyway. So getting back to this most recent, this was recent too. So I'm outside. It's wintertime. I have garments on, winter garments. Two women are like, here, come with us. I'm going to show you something. And they were with me. They, 10, 20 feet away. These two women show up and they're like, here, look at this. And it was like I had to go what seemed to me a few miles, a distance that I can traverse. It was in my mind because I walk. I do a lot of walking. I don't travel via mechanized conveyances, at least one that I operate at this moment in juncture, but I'm not going to burden you with those details. I walk a lot. I ruck, military phrase. I've never been in the military, but I ruck. Rucksack. I carry a backpack, ruck, with at least 20 pounds of stuff with me and an average of 2 to 6 miles daily, potentially. And that keeps me in good health. I'm 57 years old. It's part of my health regimen. Kind of forced upon me in a way, but embrace it for good health. People are kind of surprised that, wow, you can do what? Oh yeah, I rock. So I have some strength, various parts of me, and plus the hard physical labor I've done over the years and what have you. But anyway, so in my mind, based on my circumstances and things that I've seen and felt and heard and all that, your mind plugs that into what's being told to you in the spirit, and then your mind plugs these objects and aspects into that. So here I am standing outside on a frozen creek. Didn't seem very large to me. Maybe a foot deep, foot and a half deep, not very deep. I could see down in it. It was completely frozen solid, clear, crystal, like water is. It's completely frozen, kind of dark in there, but completely perfectly flat and frozen. And these two women are like, here, come with us. We want to show you. And then I started just moving. The creek went down at an angle like they do, creeks. But what was really interesting was I was standing at first, but then I sat down on my behind and I'm just moving, sliding on my behind on this frozen creek. And then it starts to do this wave number, not really strong, but it starts to get wavy up and down. And if any of you have ever stood on a frozen creek, occasionally, sometimes there might be gentle wave features because it crosses over rocks and things like that. And the ice will kind of form that way. But this was very noticeable. This was maybe 6 inches or a foot or 2 feet over a distance of maybe 10 or 20 feet. It was noticeable, this up and down movement. I should have known. I've experienced this before. It was vertigo. I was experiencing vertigo, but it was gentle. Didn't really seem like vertigo. I'm just, wow, this creek's kind of, it's doing this number up and down. And I slid on my behind, and I was looking, there were all these trees next to it. And I literally, in my mind, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I actually pulled out my cell phone and I started recording in landscape mode. And I'm actually looking through my cell phone, recording this as a video. I'm watching this. But then I came down. I noticed, and after I rode, I was on this for a distance, really moving along. I noticed I was coming into a city, and it changed its aspect to where all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, where you were sliding on something and and it came out onto a flat surface, and just with friction and what have you, you were able to just whoop, stand right up. And that's what I did in this dream. I was sliding along very rapidly on my keister, my behind, and then I saw I was approaching where the creek changed from this, what I thought was frozen water, into just kind of blackish dirt. And it became the street of a city. I entered into a city. And I just whoop, stood up, my forward motion. I stood up, and now I'm standing, and I just started walking down this road to enter into a city. Now, it didn't really have really high buildings, and there was a T, there was a road that crossed at the end of this creek road that I had rode in on. There's an interesting homonym for you. And there, I passed an individual on my way out, and Daniel told me who that was, and I forget. But it was kind of a symbolic thing. It was not a specific individual. I'm going to guess what it was. It was a man with a beard kind of like mine, but it was blondish, and he had very thick garments on, what have you. But he was walking the other way, and he brushed against me. He said, "Don't go that way." And then I was looking back, and he kept walking back the other way, and I walked some distance and looked back at him, and then the dream concluded. So I told Daniel the dream, and he goes, "Oh, the elves took you over into the power reality." Well, the one time they took me over in the power reality, man, I had mad vertigo. Man, the vertigo was bad. It was even a little fearful. It was like I went over the edge of an endless cliff on a train, and it had that wavy, because that's the power reality. The ethereal power reality is 8-dimensional. So for 4-dimensional people that have their senses 4-dimensional, when you go into these other dimensions, it gives you vertigo because there's additional dimensions that you're not used to. And so it has this, for me, it has this wavy aspect to it. And I remember this was probably 2 years ago. I could get you the exact time and date. I remember going off into the power reality, and I had some serious vertigo, and I just went down. It was this train track going incredibly fast. And then it started going up and down, the same thing, and then it just went over the edge of a cliff. Right over the edge of an endless cliff, down into this white void, this endless white void. And I was like, oh. But I've had this happen so many times now in decades of my life. It's not really terrifying to me anymore. I was terrified of it. I was when I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old, but having now been doing this for 54 years now, it's not so terrifying anymore. I'm seasoned and more experienced in the other dimensions and realities now. So now it's just kind of like, oh, an interesting little ride. What do I have to see here? So anyway, so I was taken by 2 of the elves, female